I think trying to think of the most practical way of actually just saying basically work on what you love because that is the best possible outcome you can have for yourself. That's ultimately the entire message of this video. But what I'm trying to do is take elements from the self-help space. I'm always going to keep using that because the self-help space has so many gray areas within it. There's the kind of Andrew Tate, Iman Gadzhi, Luke Belmar, all of these entrepreneurial influencer space. And then there's the kind of older influencers that have come into the influencer space that I kind of think of like Patrick Bet-David, if you've ever seen him. Obviously, everybody's heard in the self-help space now of in the business content world of Alex Hormozy. These older business owners that are like 30 plus, and I know Andrew Tate's 30 plus, but older business owners that are more focused on just kind of business growth, entrepreneurship, capitalism, all that sort of stuff, and not necessarily focused on biohacking and like making a million through SMMA type of thing. They're actually just focused on making successful businesses. So a practical guide to following something that you're passionate about and achieving success with it mostly can actually be guided with most self-help tips, which is the first one is always consistency. In any self-help video, you'll hear about consistency because it's always just the case of not every single day you're going to love doing the thing you do, even though you're passionate about it, even though it's the thing that you have a sense of purpose doing. There will be times when you do not enjoy it. There'll be times when you wake up and you're like, ugh. Or there'll be days when you don't want to get up tomorrow to have to do the thing because it's just a tedious part of the process. It's a tedious part of your journey. But it's those days that test you on how much you actually want to do this in the long term. So it's again, like, I think there's even like a Steve Jobs quote about this, which again, that delves into the self-help space of just the days when it's tough, the days when it's stressful. They are the greatest tests for you as to how much you are passionate and love the thing that you say is your deepest desire and you find the most fulfilling thing to do in your life. So it's always about consistency because obviously the stressful days are big tests as to whether you are truly passionate about it and you love it to your core. And then it's obviously about actually, I think this is where the self-help space can help people that struggle to make progress with passions, because especially as someone that has come from the more creative space, I was a very creative like filmmaker person, making like short films with friends, working on short film ideas and scene ideas before I entered the kind of business online personal development space. And I realized that applying the personal development and business growth knowledge, tips, and tricks to like the creative side for me or whatever it might be for you, whatever passion you have, if it is in the self-help space, then use these. If it isn't, then still take these with you. Because I think the whole idea of obviously, like I said, consistency, but things like understanding how habits work, understanding, again, like intention and clarity so that you can focus on something, getting to a flow with what you're working on really easy. Because naturally, if you're passionate about something, you will get into a flow state easier when you're passionate about it. And it's very important to get into flow, but I might get back into that in a second if I remember to. So these attributes of the self-help space, again, I'll put it in quotes, that can help you are those exact things. It's understanding the areas of personal development that can seem quite blasé and corny to people that aren't following that space, but they do genuinely work, and they are just practical pieces of kind of personal development knowledge that you can apply to making progress with whatever you want to achieve. So for instance, like atomic habits to do with understanding how your habits and cravings work, cue cravings, response rewards, understanding how your habits and your desires in your day-to-day life, you can do this not just with like your food or your diet or your habits, bad habits. You might be a smoker, you might, do whatever you do that you don't actually like doing. Understanding like a destructive habit that might not be helping you achieve your goal allows you to actually start making progress towards something that you are passionate about. For instance, you might be really passionate about writing a certain book or telling this story or writing this script for this treatment script for a film idea you've got or a short film, but you can't be bothered to write it. You just want to be making the film. So you have to find the least you have to remove all of the friction from trying to start doing that thing. And instead of going into the habits in more detail, I'll leave a video on habits and how to make something a habit and a good habit. So if you're struggling to get started with something that you really want to be doing but you're not doing it, then I'll link it somewhere on the description so that you can actually get started with that thing you want to get started on. Then the next one is, I think when it comes to generally, again, applying the self-help tips and the personal development tips to just trying to make progress with what you want to achieve. And I just went mind blank with it. Very briefly, obviously just going back to what we said, if it comes back to me, it's obviously, like I said, consistency, having intention with what you want to be doing, and having the clarity. So obviously, naturally, when you're doing something you're passionate about, you will be in flow with it. And flow is one of those times where it's like, it feels like it's been 3 hours, you look at the clock, it's been 40 minutes, or you've been doing something. Often if you're stressed out, it'll be the opposite of flow. It feels like it's been 20 seconds and it's been 2 minutes, that type of thing. It's the opposite. But in flow, it's like, wow, we've just filmed, for me, I've been in filming before and I've made a scene and I've been filming something for what feels like an hour and a half and it's been 35 minutes, 45 minutes. And that's when you're in flow, you're enjoying the process, you're just in awe in this element, just not thinking about anything else but this thing. So understanding habits that will help you make progress towards, just eliminating and removing all the friction from starting what you actually want to start or continue what you intended to finish, because that's one of the biggest things as well. So overall, consistency with continuing doing something regardless of how stressful it is, because like Steve Jobs said, if you're passionate about something, you want to be passionate about something, because otherwise it's like the biggest test of whether you truly love it or not. Then obviously having intention with it, making your goals clear. And then I think the second biggest one is, the next biggest one, whether it's the second one or not, is I think kind of some business skills. This is what's just finally come to me. I remembered from a minute ago, is that there's certain skills in the business world and the personal development world in the self-help space that I'm realizing that I've started applying to planning for my creative work in the future. And it's very simple things that you don't really ever think to do because you're not that type of person necessarily in the past. Of trying to get permissions or access to be able to do certain things. For instance, as a creative person, the ability to get access to film in a very, very nice place. Obviously, nepotism and who you know and your connections is a great thing, but maybe it is, for instance, for me, it's been reading the book Never Split the Difference, understanding, the books Never Split the Difference about negotiation, How to Win Friends and Influence People, and one of my personal favorite books on like psychology and human behavior is Influence the Psychology of Persuasion. Those 3 books combined help you understand human psychology, help you understand, how to win friends and influence people, and especially Never Split the Difference. Those are the kind of books where you can positively help someone help you. For instance, if it's like a creative thing, trying to get permission to use somewhere, maybe for free, it's potentially like if for me, for instance, if I want to get access to a filming location that I don't have the budget for, it's coming to a mutual agreement with the person where we can use this in our project as a filming location as long as we help promote it in the production we're actually using it for. And then it's coming to a mutually beneficial agreement for both parties. And this is something that you can apply to any field of work. So don't just think it's like a filming thing that I've been benefiting from because I've just been planning to use it in the future. But there are so many little tricks like that that are benefits of personal improvement and self-help space knowledge and experience that can apply to areas that can help you with your passions and making progress with your passions and your career growth that you don't really ever think about because you've not dived into the self-help space. So again, I know it's a bit of a mashed up set of practical tips and tricks here, but I hope that overall these pieces that you can piece together are kind of helpful tips and tricks that you can take with you to apply to whatever you're passionate about, whatever gives you a sense of purpose, whether it's a business thing, whether it's a creative thing, whether you love writing, filmmaking, storytelling, whether you love, I don't know, fossil hunting, whatever your passion is, pebble collecting, I don't know, whatever it might be, it's about painting, whatever it might be. These are I can only think of creative things other than pebble collecting, but maybe it is a creative thing to some people. But whatever your passion is, whatever is fulfilling to you, you can use some of these skills that typically are part of the self-help space, but practically use them to help you grow as a person and especially grow in your career in whatever you're passionate about. And a lot of these specifically aren't necessarily like about wanting to make loads of money from your passion, because a lot of these, again, like you come to a mutually beneficial agreement between a party to help you help them as well. Like there's not necessarily money to be made for either of you there, but it's just everybody winning, and you get to continue your passion and they get help from you as well. So it's all about coming to mutually beneficial agreements and deals with people to be able to further your progress with your passion. So anyway, that's not too long of a video, but there we go. Thanks very much for watching, and hope there's some practical tips for you. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya.